When we saw the numbers hit the Bloomberg this morning, there was sort of a little consternation surrounding the one-off, surrounding Popular, because it didn't seem to be reflected in the analyst estimates. How much guidance did you give around this? How much kind of visibility did you have on these charges?
Good morning. When we bought Popular, we announced a restructuring cost of 1.3 billion pre-tax, which is approximately slightly over 900 million after tax, and the 300 million restructuring charge that we did in the quarter is very much in line with this 900 million, which will come over 2 to 3 year period. The analysts thought that this charge would come in the fourth quarter, but this is the third quarter is the first quarter in which we have managed the company fully, and now we already have an estimate of what the restructuring charge should be this year, and that's why we decided to put it in the third quarter and not wait till the fourth quarter.
Cool. That explains the little consternation we had this morning. Is the integration going kind of to plan? Are you happy with the way it's going?
Yes, absolutely. We have already recaptured a significant amount of deposits that the bank lost before we bought it. The bank is stabilizing. We did a capital increase very successfully to inject the capital into Popular, and we are starting to integrate the branches under the Santander group brand. Everything is going as planned.
Are you seeing any deposit inflows into Santander as a result of what is happening in Catalonia at the moment?
Well, Catalonia is loans and deposits that we have in Catalonia represent around 2% of the group. So any movements in deposit or loans coming from Catalonia really is of little significance for the group as a whole.
Nevertheless, is it happening? It may be a small number relative to the overall size and scale of Santander, which is an enormous institution. But have you, because we're going to learn things from this next answer about what is happening there, have you seen a pickup above normal in terms of deposits?
Well, we've seen around the Declaration of Independence, we saw some unusual movements, but they have come down, and everything is back to normal right now. So really, they were not significant amounts at all.
Okay. Are you worried in any way? Is the management team at Santander assessing the implications and the tail risks surrounding the political story with Catalonia? Are you worried that it could end up upsetting the sort of Spanish economic recovery which we've seen taking root over the last few years?
Like you say, the Spanish economy is doing very well. I think it's very premature to assess the impact of what's going on in Catalonia on the Spanish economy. We've started to see some estimates of some, decimal points impact on GDP growth. I think it's too early. But again, the recovery is very, very strong, very robust. And I think if this has a negative impact, it will not be significant.
Okay, even if, is that the kind of central outcome, i.e. that nothing changes very much? If I think of a sort of distribution curve of outcomes, is the answer you've just given me based on the middle of that distribution curve, or is it based on the kind of the less tail risk that actually things start to go a little bit wrong politically surrounding Catalonia?
But I think it's a question of, I think it's the most probable scenario. I think the government has already estimated a possible negative impact of 0.3% in the country's GDP growth, which is above 3%. So, yes, there might be an impact, but again, the recovery is so robust and is so widespread that unless we see a very catastrophic scenario, which we don't envision right now, the impact will definitely be very moderate.
I spoke to a chairman of a UK bank yesterday who told me that he thought that the price war in the UK mortgage market was bottoming out. Is that your sense as well?
Yes, definitely. We are maintaining our market share in mortgages. Obviously, our SVR portfolio is still coming down. It's gone down approximately £4 billion so far this year, and that's the most significant change that we are seeing in the mortgage market. Other than that, the market is very stable.
It's stable.
It's stable.
Do you see any sort of... You've talked in the past about your surprise at how strong the UK economy sort of is. And yesterday we had a 0.4 read on GDP, and I guess, all things considered, that's a fairly robust performance. But do you worry at the margin that maybe the consumer is starting to come under a little bit more pressure?
Yes. We thought that Brexit could have a more immediate negative impact on the UK economy. That has not happened. The UK economy is doing pretty well, which obviously is good for the banking industry and our product. In terms of consumer lending, there were some pressures, and the regulators were a bit worried about that, and they have taken the measures to try to curb that down because we think it's healthy to have a bit less growth there. But other than that, I think the economy is doing very well, and what we are seeing in the banking industry is a pretty good performance.
Would it be a mistake to raise interest rates in the UK? And if interest rates are raised in the UK, what impact do you think that will have?
Well, if interest rates go up as the market expects, I think the impact will not be significant, really. I mean, a 25 basis point, 50 basis point increase in interest rates this year, and then very modest increases thereafter, can be absorbed by the economy, by borrowers, by banks, without any significant impact. If interest rates were to go up faster and more than is currently discounted by the market, it could have an impact. But really, what the market is counting today could be very well absorbed by the economy.
Just one final quick question. I want to take you down to what's happening in Brazil right now. Why are you comfortable loosening credit standards at this point? What are you seeing in the Brazilian economy that makes you comfortable to do that? Well,
interest rates were at 14.25% in December of last year. They are at 8.25% today and are expected to go below 7% by year end, or around 7%, and stay there for most of next year. We haven't seen interest rates this low in Brazil since the 50s. And that obviously will have a very positive impact on credit demand and on credit quality. Much lower interest rates have a direct correlation with cost of risk. Cost of risk should continue to go down. So it's the combination of a better economic outlook and significantly lower interest rates that make us confident about the credit quality in Brazil.